I don't know about you, but I love a good makeover story. Perhaps it's because I always kind of felt like an ugly duckling growing up that I was thrilled when I discovered the 1950s charm school advice books in the library during my grad school days. These guidebooks set me on my own journey to completely transform my life. Unlike makeover shows, however, where someone gets an instant makeover, real life transformations can be challenging at times because it requires us to step out of our comfort zone and develop new habits. We may even need to learn new skills in order to enact positive change and become the person we hope to be. But we don't need to do all these new things all at once. In fact, we can't do all of these things at once. We can't skip any necessary steps along the way in order for the transformation to stick. We just need to keep taking small baby steps to achieve transformation. So let's take a look at how we go about completely transforming our lives using 1950s charm school advice. For this video, we are examining two quotes from the book Secrets of Poise, Personality, and Model Beauty that our mid-century mentor John Roberts Powers wrote in 1961. He says, "As I have stressed before, beauty is not the result of eye appeal alone. A woman may become memorable because of her lovely speaking voice. The inner glow can become a hallmark of beauty. The woman who has a gift for remembering names has a special foothold on charm. The woman who writes a sparkling thank you note and never overlooks an opportunity for complimenting others will be remembered when others are forgotten. Some women are sought after simply because they always have an amusing story to tell." And another quote from the book is, "Nature has blessed you with femininity. That's your first asset. The mere fact that you were born a woman makes you something special. Be proud of your femininity and make the most of it." Our mid-century mentor, Mr. Powers, tells us that every woman has a distinctive quality that should be capitalized upon to make her memorable. I love, 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 love that it reminds us that beauty is not strictly the domain of outward appearance, but that it is a certain something that comes from within that makes us beautiful. If you've spent any time in the social media beauty world, you've probably noticed that the emphasis is on how to overcome your flaws. Well, the good news is that this won't be our focus in this video. We're going to focus on the positive aspects of yourself that already provide a strong foundation for you to create a better vision. I like vision too, of yourself. So the first step to transforming your life is to embrace your femininity. As Mr. Powers says, your femininity is your number one asset. Mr. Powers describes his high level of respect for ultra feminine women. He points out that they are attractive because they regard themselves as attractive, regardless of their physical features. He said he never heard them make any remark or any suggestion that would put them in any other light. He recognizes that this kind of femininity is old-fashioned, and even so, more so now, but that there are benefits to showcasing your femininity. So when I was a young woman starting out in my professional life, my peers and I suffered from what I now call the fake man syndrome. We were told that in order to be successful in our careers, we had to dress like men, which is why in all those old pictures and movies, you see women wearing all of those dreadful ties. And we were told we had to act like men by being aggressive and taking no prisoners, which led to the B boss stereotype. We were told that the traits and insights that women brought to the table were not valued. However, and it didn't really work for us. However, as Mr. Powers tells us, a woman will be infinitely more successful at realizing her ambitions if she proves herself as a woman, not as an imitation male. Now, I'm not even going to get into, the issues of misogyny and so forth. What I'm focusing on here is being authentic as a woman and not trying to be a fake man. One thing I'm going to make absolutely clear is that there are way too many gatekeepers for what it means to be feminine. I'm not one of them. You get to decide what feminine means to you. And if you're not sure how to define it for yourself so that it's in alignment with your authentic self, a great way to figure it out is to take a look at some of your favorite movie icons with the intention of finding the personality traits in them that resonate with you. This exercise will also help you set goals, for your personal growth, so that you can develop those aspects in yourself. The next step is to step outside of your comfort zone. In order to live the life of our dreams, we must learn to embrace new things and break old habits. Trying something new allows us to grow, expand our horizons, and discover new passions. It helps us become more adaptable and open-minded, which are essential qualities for a charming and confident woman. But I know from my own personal experience, stepping out of your comfort zone can be daunting, and it may feel like you're entering a whole new world. And at times it feels like really hard work. But let me fill you in on a secret to keep in mind as you navigate that space. Your comfort zone is that part of your subconscious mind that thinks it is keeping you safe. Let me repeat that. Your comfort zone is that part of your subconscious mind that thinks it is keeping you safe from harm. As you move closer to the edge of it by letting go of old habits and developing new habits, your comfort zone is going to go into overdrive with negative thoughts to try to basically talk you off the ledge. Come back. It's not safe over there. Come back. It'll start telling you things like, habits aren't really so bad if you think about it. It might also try to tell you that you aren't worth the so-called trouble it takes to make a significant change. But you are worth it. And the small victories soon start adding up to a big change. And before you know it, you're a new person. So how can you approach these new experiences with a positive attitude? Here are a few tips. When my comfort zone, when my subconscious mind starts going to overdrive and starts yelling, come back, I like to thank it for trying to protect me and remind it that what I'm doing is what I want to do and that I've thought it through and I'm not going to fall off the ledge. And if I do, okay, it'll be okay. Remind yourself that everyone starts somewhere. Nobody can become an expert overnight, and it's completely normal to feel awkward or unsure of yourself at first. Really embrace that learning process, and if possible, have a sense of humor about it. Visualize your success. Before and during this new experience, picture yourself succeeding at it. And this will help you build your confidence and make you more excited about the process. When I was going through grad school is really getting your PhD is really hard. And part of the reason it's so hard is because it's a mind game. At least it was for me and for a lot of other women I've spoken to. And so when I started getting frustrated or discouraged or feeling like I couldn't do it, I would picture myself graduating with my PhD. And I didn't wear the flat hat. I wore what I call the Christopher Columbus hat. And I had a pillow from my couch that was round and sort of in the same shape as the tam, is what it's called, that I would be wearing with my regalia. And I would walk around my living room with my pillow on my head, singing Pomp and Circumstances. pomp and circumstance. So I'd be walking around the living room with a pillow on my head going, dun, 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 dun. And I would do that and I would picture it. And I would like to say before I knew it, I mean, it took many years, but it helped me by giving me new confidence. And sure enough, I walked across that stage with the tam on my head and got my degree. So don't be afraid of being silly if you need to in order to visualize your success. Another thing you can do is adopt a yes and mindset. When faced with a new opportunity or challenge, try to think of it as a chance to grow and learn rather than it being a threat. Say yes to the experience and then add your own unique flair to it. It's rarely ever black and white, either or. Yes and. Surround yourself with positive people. Share your new endeavors with people you trust, or family members who are encouraging and understanding. Be very careful because not everybody's encouraging and understanding. Look toward, seek out people who can help ease your fears and cheer you on as you step outside your comfort zone. And don't forget that the modern retro woman community is made up of kindred spirits. So I encourage you to take advantage of our supportive environment, either in the comments or by joining us over on Patreon. So, true confession time. I engage in hand-to-hand, to the death combat with my nemesis, the imposter syndrome, anytime I get close to the edge of my comfort zone. And the ironic part of that is that I have led countless workshops for women and graduate students on how to overcome the imposter syndrome. So I want to reassure you that you are not alone. Contrary to what your mind is telling you, you are not the only one who battles it. And not everyone but you has their act together. You would be surprised by how many people battle the imposter syndrome. And women are especially susceptible to it because we are constantly being bombarded with mixed messages. You can be anything you want, just as long as you stay in that little box that we put you into. You can tell you are dealing with the false messages of the imposter syndrome when you get close to the edge of your comfort zone and you start to notice that you are shooting all over yourself. Am I right? I know I'm not the only one who shoulds all over myself. So remember, despite what the mean reds, as Holly Golightly in Breakfast at Tiffany calls them, despite what the mean reds are telling you, trying new things and stepping out of your comfort zone is essential for personal growth and the life transformation you hope to achieve. The next step is to emphasize your distinctive qualities. Take a stand right now and pledge to only focus on what you consider your distinctive qualities, and I mean that in a positive sense. Remember, how we treat others, having a positive personality, and good grooming have a whole lot more influence on how others view us than whether we use an eye-defying cream or not. By only focusing, but here's an additional layer to that. By only focusing on your distinctive qualities, you will be able to completely transform yourself, both in your own view and also in the eyes of others. That's the cool part. When I was still a professor, I noticed that there were two types of young women in my classes, confident and insecure. Now, there was a continuum, but it was like there would be a whole bunch of confident students and a whole bunch of insecure young women. The insecure ones were always talking about their flaws in hopes of getting positive feedback and being reassured that their flaw is, it's no big deal. But, one thing I noticed is that the reassurances were never quite enough. And the so-called self-deprecating humor just came across as needy and draining. The confident women, on the other hand, recognized their best features and played those up. Now, they weren't delusional. They worked on the areas that need development, as HR likes to call them, but they didn't broadcast that information. They didn't put those thoughts in other people's minds. These young women who focused on always presenting the best version of themselves also were the ones who were so magnetic to those around them. Remember, small changes lead to a better life. Don't try to change everything at once. I mentioned it before, but I really want to emphasize that there are a lot of different paths toward achieving your transformation. Although I share ideas here on my YouTube channel and on my blog about how to live the life of your dreams using advice from our mid-century mentors, only you can determine what's best for you to become the kind of person you want to be. Your personal experience is different than mine. Don't compare someone else's highlight reel on social media to your first steps. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the grace to not have to replace all of your bad habits with good habits at once. Be your own best friend and engage in positive self-talk instead of beating yourself up when you're not perfect. Focus on smaller, achievable goals that will keep you on the right path when tough times happen, such as, that imposter syndrome rearing its ugly head. Small changes help you hold onto your sense of purpose toward living your best life. As an educational psychologist, I used to facilitate a very popular workshop for professors on how to help their students move away from what I call flashcard types of learning to more complex ways of learning and that involve critical thinking. The graphic I used to put up had a tricycle, a bicycle with training wheels, a bicycle, and a unicycle all lined up next to each other. And we talk about how, as a learner, you have to start with that tricycle and then learn those skills. And you can't skip the skills and the learning that happens with each of those levels. I'm sure you can think of other examples that are similar to that, such as learning how to sew, and feel free to share them in the comments. As you go about completely transforming your life, I encourage you to think about that graphic and consider the little things you learn from the small changes on your personal development journey. The journey may seem like it's taking a long time, but before you know it, you look back and realize you are a different person and you have completely transformed your life. If you're ready to take your personal presentation to the next level by incorporating vintage sewing and timeless charm school advice into your everyday life, I invite you to click on the subscribe and notification buttons to make sure you know when new videos arrive. And be sure to check out the other Modern Retro Woman resources in the description. Also, let YouTube's algorithm know that it should share this video with kindred spirits by clicking the like button and sharing it with your friends. Until next time, check out these other videos somewhere around here and have a fabulous Technicolor day. Bye now.